just you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar. Welcome to Scumm Bar.
Yes!
Welcome to Scumm Bar Podcast, episode 43, where we talk movies, video games, pop culture, books, Vladimir Putin, and everything in between. With me today is a special co-host all the way from Russia, riding here on a polar bear. His name is...
My name is Anth0z. Is that the Russian theme?
No, I have no idea how to sing the Russian theme. That's my attempt.
Not the theme, sorry.
That's my attempt at the Russian theme.
Russians are not a TV show.
The Russians?
The Russians. So,
Anth0z, how are you doing? Welcome to the pod. That's what we call it now, the pod. We're cool like that now, so welcome to my pod, man.
Cool. Are we like those little like pod hotels where people just literally sleep in a pod and that's all they get?
Yeah, and it costs the same as a normal hotel.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I just found that out today. When okay, so we have a panda pod that opened up in Richmond not too long ago, maybe sometime within the past year.
Panda pod?
Well, yeah, the company's called Panda Pod, or the hotel or hostel or podtel, whatever you would call it.
Okay.
The facility that has pods for sleeping in.
God.
I thought that pod prices would have been something like maybe half the price of a normal room, like a hotel or something. But then we looked it up today, and they were like $100. And I don't.
It's about the experience of being a pod.
Like of being an edamame bean. It's just weird. I don't know. I wouldn't. That's a lot of money for a pod, for a casket.
Yep.
Like I don't. Well, it's not a lot.
Yes.
It's actually not a lot of money for a casket, but.
My fiance and I, when we were not fiancés at the time yet, we got to stay in a, what is it called?
Casket.
Not a teepee, but like a
a yurt.
like a hut. Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. A yurt. Yeah. We stayed at a camping site and we stayed at a yurt, and that was really cool. So, and that was cheaper than a hotel. That was really cheap. It was like we got 3 days for like, I don't know. It was cheap. It was cheaper than a hotel. Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. Right. Okay, yes. I'll just start talking about a yurt. We were in a yurt and it was a good price.
Okay, wait. I'm recording it. Okay, yeah. Okay, great. Good price, yes.
We were in a yurt. It was a good price. I'm going to take this moment in the podcast to point out that I'm wearing gloves because it's really cold in the room that I'm recording in. And then my fiance made fun of me a whole bunch and decided to give me the beanbag that is really hot and warm. This is also the very same beanbag that has caused us so many audio issues on this podcast because my microwave is causing Wi-Fi issues.
Yeah, maybe. Wait, can we also make a little note saying that if there is a weird edit in this podcast,
there will be many.
There are reasons, and
many.
The reasons are Panasonic
Plentiful.
Or I don't know, whoever your microwave brand is.
Oh
Inverter.
Yeah, I don't know who my microwave brand is.
Okay, microwave. So,
but at least my phalanges are warm as we try to record.
Perfect. Just so anybody else knows out there, in case you didn't already, sometimes some things that you try to run on your internet network will run on the same frequency as your microwave. So, for example, Google Chromecast, I think the first two versions are the most prone to cutting out when a microwave nearby is being used, and that's because they run on the same frequency and they cannot compete. So if you ever find yourself trying to cast something and microwave something at the same time, and your cast starts to drop out, that's probably why. It is your microwave. So
same thing happens to me with podcasts actually while I'm listening to Bluetooth headphones. So with Bluetooth headphones, whenever I'm microwaving something and I'm sort of nearby, it totally drops the headphone. Or it gets really like staticky, like I'm far away.
Right.
So yeah, it kind of stops working.
Anyway, back to I was gonna feed off of the yurt thing. So I've read The Yertles. I read recently that on Vancouver Island, there's some sort of a thing called a treetop shelter. Tiny round treehouse,
yes.
fully suspended sphere.
I've heard of these. I've also heard these people are really weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, they made a sphere to live in, hanging from a tree. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've never visited the hanging treetop people, but you can go there, and apparently they're fun. Some people say they're cool. Some other people have had horrible experiences. So I don't know.
Really? Okay.
It's kind of up to you, I think.
It looks like a James and the Giant Peach just suspended in the air. I'm intrigued.
Does, yeah.
I want to go. I want to check it out. I want to at least be inside it and just witness it. But I don't know if I'd want to stay in
This is great. Just a witness. This is great. So glad I can witness this.
I came, I saw, I witnessed. I can leave now.
Does that mean you saw twice? You saw and you witnessed?
I came, I saw, I witnessed. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How would you like to hear a joke?
How would I like to? I would like to hear it verbally.
Oh, okay. Then I'll say it to you then. How about this?
Thank you.
How about this? Anth0z.
Wait, I want to witness it. Are we? Is that where
you can also witness it.
Okay.
Anth0z.
Yes.
What do you call a pirate's hairstyle?
Wait, is there a reason why you said it like that? Is that
because you want to witness it?
Oh,
so you witnessed it.
Because if anything, you just enunciated. That was more of an audio experience than it was a visual experience.
There was visual cues to every single one.
Yes.
What do you call a pirate's hairstyle?
Hairdo. I feel like I should be able to get this one. Hairstyle, hair cut, bowl cut, pirate, rag, handkerchief. What's those bandana? No, I can't get it. You tell me.
A crew cut.
Oh, man. I wouldn't have gotten that, but still.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But you didn't, so you're right.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for the joke.
I mean, okay,
yes.
it was okay. It was an okay one. Oh, you know what? Wow. Before this, sorry, everyone. I would like to apologize beforehand too. I've just been very unprepared apparently for this podcast. But ye old news is the next segment I'd like to jump into, and I just realized I don't really have any news. Although I can think of some. But go ahead if you have some news, Anth0z.
Sure, I could just run through them really quickly. Because I have a bunch, and maybe I don't want to take too much time throughout them all. So listen, because here's the lightning round. Well, round? There's the Friends reference, I guess. Okay, so.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes. Dangerous liaisons. Okay, so. BlizzCon happened a little while back, and they announced that Diablo 4 is going to come out soon, and they have announced that the first 3 classes available will be a Druid, Barbarian, and Sorceress. Yay! And then they have also announced with the trailer that Overwatch 2 will be coming out, and I don't really know what the development will be on that, but there may or may not be new characters added to that. So that's that. And I didn't really listen to the rest of BlizzCon because I don't enjoy Hearthstone, and yeah. What else is there? Okay, so there was, I found on Global News, I read the article titled, nope, I didn't read the whole article, just the title, and it has something to do with James Dean being, they're going to, how do you call it? You know when Tarkin was brought back in Star Wars? Like CGI brought back? So apparently there are talks about doing a James Dean CGI as like the main actor or role for an upcoming movie or something.
Weird.
Yeah. The title is CGI James Dean set to star in film 64 years after his death, and fans aren't pleased. That's the title. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. So, yeah. All right, next
Interesting.
News. I'm just going through them all. Next news. Kelsey Grammer confirms that there will be a Frasier reboot in summer 2020.
Wait, reboot?
Well,
reboot or like continuation?
The title says reboot. I don't know if I think I did read part of this. It sounds like they're trying to figure out the best way to actually put this together. So I don't know if they've actually decided.
They should
whether or
not
not
change a thing and just keep all the same cast, except for the dad.
Did he pass away?
Yeah.
That's right.
But you just need Frasier, you need Niles, you need Roz, and you're good to go.
That's true.
Good
yeah.
to go.
It's really just about how they all. Well, yeah, the way they interact together. It'll be.
Yeah. Oh, the dog's probably dead too. Great. This is so sad.
You think so? Really?
The dog? It's been so long since Frasier. That dog's dead.
Okay. You can check credits. Maybe it's in there. Okay, so aside, actually, that reminded me. Will and Grace, they're doing a reboot right now, aren't they? Or is it a sequel?
I'm not sure.
But
I'm not up on my Will and Grace. I haven't read my Will and Grace blog yet, unfortunately.
I see. Okay. Well, Will and Grace was a show that I did watch a little bit before. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't enough for me to watch all the time. And yeah, so now they're doing. Let me see. IMDb says TV series 1998 dash. So it sounds like it never stopped, but it definitely did.
So it's probably a continuation.
It must be a
Kinda
continuation,
like Full House.
then, yeah.
Actually, Full House is, I guess, a little different because they did Fuller House, so it's kind of a different show, but continuing the show.
Right, because it's still canon
That'd
in a way,
be like
but it's like a different focus.
Frasier-y House.
Right.
Frasier 2.
Frasierist.
Frasierist. Even Frasier than ever.
Okay, moving on.
Next news.
Next news. Next week coming up is our Canadian Black Friday on November 29th.
Ah!
Yes, so get your carts prepared, your online carts, get your items in your cart beforehand, and as soon as it
your digital shopping carts?
Yes, your digital shopping carts. And for some stores, I guess, depending on which ones they are, technically you might be able to order your Black Friday deal starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or sorry. Wait, no. 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday the 28th, because that would be midnight the 29th in the East.
Okay.
So for all of you those out there, that makes sense. Who want to buy something on Black Friday, that is your one hack tip you get from us.
I do.
Cool. What are you gonna buy?
I don't know.
Okay, maybe you should.
I want to see what they got.
You should buy a razor for that mustache.
Oh no, these things staying on.
Even in December, you're gonna keep it?
No, in December I'm gonna go clean shaven. I think for the whole month. That's gonna be my first thing. I'm just gonna be like, let's see what I look like with nothing for a whole month.
Even like no eyebrows? Nothing. Nothing.
That'd be funny, but no.
Okay. Didn't you do
shave my head as well? I was totally bald.
Didn't one year because you've done Movember for you did it. No, you didn't do it for the past couple years, but prior to that you had done it consecutively for a few years. Yep. And come December, did you not kind of shape it into something else just for fun in the beginning, or did you always just like completely shave it off?
No, the last day of Movember I would normally shape it into something just for fun.
Oh, I see. Okay. Are you planning to do that this year too?
No.
Oh. What?
This year I'm just gonna get through the month with the This is the first time I've ever done the mustache the whole month. Normally I like grow it out throughout November. This has been like the since November 1st full mustache, so I'm very much over it, and I just want it to be December 1st. Get rid of the mustache.
Also, your hair is a little bit longer than normal, right? Like are you? Growing
I did get a haircut. So it's actually the same length. Is what it was. I just cut the sides.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, you're accentuating the bangs by shortening the sides. I like it. You have this whole new kind of like aviator look. You need a brown jacket.
That's my headset that's giving the aviator look.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I definitely don't look like an aviator with my beanbag to keep me warm right now in my gloves.
Well, no, because that actually looks like, those aviator jackets, they kind of have the fleece lining that's only around it's just on the shoulders.
This is like cheap cosplay? I'm going as Birdman right now.
Yes, yeah.
Or like a World War II fighter pilot.
you kind of, you do kind of look like you're doing some sort of weird cosplay. For the podcast, so thank you
for the audio podcast.
Yeah, people can hear it.
I have news. Okay,
Very
important news.
Okay,
everyone in the world, including yourself, should watch the new show Green Eggs and Ham on Netflix. Good show.
Ooh.
Very good show. I just
it
completed it.
Is it a Dr. Seuss show?
Yeah. Yeah, it's done up just exactly like the book, Green Eggs and Ham, and then it does like a whole 13-part show to it, and it's funny. It's really funny. Like, I watched it kind of thinking, oh, this is really cool. This will be a good show for kids and all that. And we just kind of watched the first episode thinking it'd be fun. And then, man, we got hooked right away. It was really good. So we finished it really quickly, and I was just very shocked with the production value. It's a great show. So Green Eggs and Ham, check it out. It's good.
Okay. Oh, cool.
If you like Dr. Seuss at all, I'm a Seuss fan anyways, but if you like Dr. Seuss at all, it's totally worth it.
Yeah. I definitely was when I was younger into the books, and I never really got into the movies that came out. So there was the Snorlax.
Lorax?
The Lorax, yes. Not the Snorlax.
Horton Hears a Who, Lorax.
I didn't watch
There was
either
the
of those.
live-action Grinch and the live-action Cat in the Hat, and then there was also the new Grinch that came out animated, I guess.
Oh, that's right, yeah. You know what? I don't think I ever even watched the Jim Carrey Grinch for some reason.
What?
Like, the Grinch for me was never... I guess the Grinch seemed like a popular thing around Christmas time for some reason, or just like just a popular story. For some reason, I never got into the Grinch as a kid. I think because he was too cold-hearted. I just didn't resonate with it or something. I don't know.
Well, I definitely watched the animated one a lot, and then when the Jim Carrey one came out, I watched that one like crazy. So they're both like yearly watches for me, and multiple times that year. Well, during Christmas, but
yeah, multiple times during Christmas. Yeah. I assume Jim Carrey does a pretty good job of doing the Grinch.
Well, he kind of makes it his own, right? I mean, the Grinch doesn't talk too much in the animated one, and it's usually Boris Karloff just kind of doing like a few lines here or there in the original cartoon.
Oh, right.
And Jim Carrey's, he like gives the Grinch like full personality. So to some people, they didn't really like it. And I actually remember being pretty young. Like, I would have been really young actually, and I saw it in theaters like grade 4 or 5. And I remember thinking that it was too much. Like, I was like watching him being like, that's not the Grinch I know. So it's weird. I was really young, but still was kind of judging it. But at the same time, found it really funny. So I got into it. So I see them as two totally different movies, but they're really good.
Yeah. I guess to an extent, like, if you're going to portray something as known as that, it's really hard to decide, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it isn't hard to decide, but you have to walk a fine line between, how you decide to portray the character, whether it's going to be as close to like the novelization as possible, or completely your own. And either way, they're kind of risky, right?
When your source material is just a kid's book, though, with barely any lines, it's really tough to try to represent that on screen.
Yeah.
So you have to give the character arcs. You have to give them personality. You have to do a whole bunch of stuff that Jim Carrey and Ron Howard, who was working on it, had to do. So they made what they made, and some people don't like it, and some people do like it. Personally, I like it.
Yeah. That reminds me, I was in LA over the past few days, and side note, so I saw Julie Andrews.
Right.
For any of you Julie Andrews fans out there, anybody who likes Mary Poppins and or Fräulein from Sound of Music, and or Millie from Thoroughly Modern Millie. I'm not sure if she actually played Millie, but I assume she was Millie.
In what?
Thoroughly Modern Millie.
No idea.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but I should.
She's Shrek's wife's mom.
Yes.
In Shrek. Yes.
She's Mrs. What's Shrek's wife's name?
Mrs. Shrek's wife.
Okay, we're just going with that. So saw her in a conversation kind of talk with LA Times, which is pretty cool. I enjoyed listening to her speak. I've always pictured her, so based on Sound of Music, Mary Poppins, and Princess Diaries, I've always taken her for being she seems like to be kind of like a very well held together person, sophisticated, kind of elegant. I don't know how many other kind of adjectives I could use to describe her, but that's the kind of person I view her as.
Regal.
Ooh, classy.
Ooh, stylish.
Swanky. Anyway, sorry.
Slinky.
She's not. She doesn't seem too slinky, but no. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the conversation that she had with I think Mary McNamara, I think is her name. Sorry if that's not her name, but she seemed like she's a very down to earth person. She isn't just kind of like a sophisticated reserved person, but she's super human. She's a superhuman. She's very human. And she, if you ever get a chance to listen to her speak or see her in some sort of interview, I recommend it. I think she has some pretty fun insights into her, her life in Hollywood and meeting Walt Disney. And those are the kind of things that I think would be really fun to hear about because, we, in our time now, we have stuff like Disney Plus, which we will be talking about later. We have the Magic Kingdom, that is Disneyland, but we don't have any kind of firsthand, well, at least our generation doesn't have any firsthand experience of what Walt Disney truly was like as a person. We just have all of these things that he's created over time.
True.
For her to recount a little bit of her times with him, I thought that was really cool. So anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but in LA, I read, we went to this place called The Last Bookstore, and I saw this book that was about Anthony Daniels as like portraying C-3PO. And,
oh, wow.
And I realized
cool.
like he had like a pretty cool background in terms of like before getting to film Star Wars, and that, he got into acting, I think around 24, but it was more for like stage acting.
1924?
When
wow.
he was 24.
That's a long time.
Yes, 1924. 3PO has been around for a long, long time in the galaxy far, far away.
Long, long time ago.
But C-3PO, like, he does have lines, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of the scenes we see of him on screen, it's really about his physical comedic timing. You know what I mean? Like the way that his head might kind of twitch, or just like his upper body. I find like,
right, yeah.
Like, I just thought about it when you were saying how in order to portray something like the Grinch, a character that doesn't really speak, you have to find other ways to really portray this character. Right. And just thinking back to C-3PO, it must be so difficult for him to do something like that, but I think he did such a good job. Like when you see C-3PO, like, I don't think of him as just a droid. I think of him as pretty much, he's like a sentient being, just the way he reacts to things. So
that's true, actually. Yeah, I'd agree with that. He's got so much personality.
Yeah, he had tons of personality, and a lot of that is not just from his dialogue, but from his movements, which is he does a really good job of. Sorry, that was just like a huge random tangent.
It's news. It's snooze, and if it's snooze, then it's snooze.
Shall we snooze?
We should snooze on the news.
All right, a moosh boosh.
Today we got an interesting podcast for you guys today. If you're still here, we've got something we want to do here today.
Thanks for sticking around.
It's called, thank you, Disney Plus The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
See what I did there? See what I did?
I did.
Yeah.
Nailed it. I witnessed it.
Done. I'm done the podcast. That's it, folks. You can find me at... Okay, so we are going to continue on... on the boosh cruise.
Sorry, I'm running on 4 hours of sleep, so I don't know about you, but I'm kind of on the unhinged mentality right now. But you can stay hinged.
We're back to unhinged. Okay, well, you can tell because of how sloppy the podcast has been, but that's okay because today's an unhinged episode. You're right. We've now labeled it as unhinged. So to get into the topics here, we want to talk about Disney Plus and we want to talk about The Mandalorian. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Why don't we start off with maybe just Disney Plus? I feel like that.
So from my experience, I have not used Disney Plus at all, so I don't know how the application looks or feels or any of that kind of stuff. I don't know the plans for your free trial and all that. All I have seen is that it's somehow already the top free app on like the Play Store. Yeah. And I don't know how it's doing on iTunes, but I assume it's the same. That's insane to me. That was like, from an outsider entirely, it went from this app that I've heard about that's going to be coming out to now it's like the top most downloaded thing. Yeah. So that's pretty crazy. So you can go ahead and fill me in on Disney Plus.
Well, I haven't explored it too much, but I was going to mention that same fact that, I think in the first weekend of its release, it had already surpassed Spotify, or maybe it just surpassed Spotify's opening weekend or something like that. I don't know if it's actually surpassed Spotify, but sorry, what am I saying? Not Spotify. Netflix.
Whoa, really?
Well, okay, like I said, it might have been maybe what I read was just referring to just opening weekend. And if that is true, I wouldn't doubt it simply because Disney itself already has such a huge following coming from different all different kinds of like or ends of the spectrum, right? Because Disney Plus, they will stream Disney shows, Pixar shows, Marvel, that's all and Star Wars, that's all a part of Disney.
Right.
National Geographic, I guess I don't know, is it affiliated with Disney or
I thought Disney purchased it.
Oh, okay, well there you go. In any case, that gives them so many outlets to draw their fans from.
Right.
And so yeah, that said, I think it's it would be quite easy for them, that I would guess, to build up a following very, very, very quickly. And that said, I feel like they did a decent job of managing their servers, I guess. I've had some experience. So, some people who like to go online to, if you have to buy tickets for a concert, for example, sometimes you have to get into queue, or or if you're waiting for like a special sale to start in at a certain time online, same thing. Like you might have to kind of refresh your page when that time starts. And
PAX tickets.
Yeah, PAX ticket. That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
The servers will crash. You can't load the page. You have to keep trying. And then eventually it'll say you are now in queue, and it will automatically reload and blah, 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 whatever. Right. So I think, at least PAX, like over time, they've had experience to fix it. Best Buy, the same thing. Now they've started to do queues, whereas before it was really just like you reload and you hope you get to the page you need to. But now they'll put you in a queue. I guess that just frees up server space, and then they will funnel you in at their speed. So Disney Plus, I don't know exactly how they did it. I would imagine that they would have done a lot of research, because Disney, big organization, they would probably have the funds to do that kind of R&D. But I did see a lot of people complaining about buffering. Like people were tweeting, like the spinning logo or the spinning circle symbol that is loading. Well, somebody tweeted saying my Disney Plus experience, or the first show I watched, and it was just like the spinning buffer circle. So, I imagine that's that's
I can
common.
see that happening when you get everybody just crashing your servers like crazy. Of course, that's going to happen.
Yeah. So I think, considering that, like I was on it the first day, I didn't really have too many troubles. Maybe for like the first minute or so, things weren't quite loading, but that's more so just some like the details of the page before you actually play the video. Okay. And after that, everything was fine. Like I haven't really encountered any problems, so that's good. I think they still have some more things to kind of tweak, like like a continue where you left off feature kind of thing. Because I think that wasn't entirely implemented. Like if you started to watch a show and then you closed the app and went back to it, if you wanted to watch that show again, it wouldn't always continue from where you left off, which is
weird.
Kind of annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. And otherwise, I think... if you happen to be scrolling through like multiple pages because you're adding stuff to your watch list, if you happen to press to go back, it'll go back to basically like the home page. So you can't actually go back to like the last things you were scrolling through, which is also kind of annoying feature. Like user experience, they have some stuff to work on. These are kind of just like nitpicky things, but ultimately that's what makes great apps, right? Is when you don't like everything is seamless. Everybody gets exactly what they expect. The ease of use is supposed to be, has nice flow, and they're just about there, I think. Yeah.
And the content's good. You think you've been enjoying the content so far?
Yeah, you know what? I along with some other people that I've seen on all across social media, that the people of my generation, and a little bit older too, everybody's so stoked for just reliving their childhood.
Oh, well.
So,
right, because the kid shows?
Not just the kid show. Well, I guess, sure, kid shows. But, like, for example, I started watching Boy Meets World all over again. I was super happy to see that I could watch that, because that was one of my favorite shows, like, in high school. What are some other shows people are watching? Like Lizzie McGuire, Hannah Montana, like stuff like that. That's So Raven, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So like
all the kid shows.
They are the kids, sure, the Family Channel kid shows. But I think they've got all the Pixar movies. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're all kids movies because they're very family oriented, but you can.
Right, they have
synonymous.
the Pixar. They have the Pixar shorts on there. I heard too, right?
Yeah, they had the new shorts on. I haven't seen those yet. I'm hoping to watch those soon. Yeah, I'd say like content wise, like they've started off with a really good amount of content. I mean, like if you've got TV series is on there, like there's several seasons. That's gonna take you a while to go through.
Right.
Plus all the movies. Endgame. So Avengers Endgame has been released with like 18 scenes of extra like deleted footage, which I have yet to watch.
Oh, crazy.
So at least it's...
Is it in the movie? So you can just watch the whole movie even longer now?
I don't know if it's actually in the movie, but if you select Endgame and then go into like details or like, what is it? Let me just take a look right now. If you select extras, so there's a tab for extras, and you can scroll through all the extra footage they have. So
oh, crazy.
Endgame trailer, you can watch the trailer just on its own for some reason. A Man Out of Time, creating Captain America, 12-minute video. So yeah, there's a whole bunch you can scroll through, including all the deleted scenes.
That's pretty cool.
I think that is a really good idea, actually. I find nowadays people are a lot more interested in not just the movie, but what happens outside of the movie, right? Like what goes into creating this and why did this happen? Why did the story go this way? What was the experience like? People used to like watching bloopers all the time, right? So at least this is also like a behind the scenes look. So
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, there used to be blooper reels in every credits, hey? For like a while there in like the early 90s to like late 90s, it was like there was blooper reels all the time in credits.
Yeah.
That's just such an old thing now.
Yeah. It was a big thing with like all the Jackie Chan movies. I love staying to watch those bloopers. They were great.
Yeah. How do you think people are gonna like? Do you think it's gonna be normal for people to pay for a Netflix subscription and a Disney Plus subscription?
I'm gonna go with no, but I can see why people would keep both anyway because they have different content. I don't think anything's overlapping. All the Disney stuff has been stripped from Netflix. But I have spoken to a few people that are trying to weigh out the options because generally they find that Netflix, I guess as of late, hasn't been as exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, knowing that Disney Plus is new and it's got all this stuff, like there's so much content to compete with on different levels. It's like it's basically Disney reliving your childhood versus trying to watch new shows. And there's like there's a risk of trying to get into a new show, right? You don't know if you're going to like it or not, but you know what you love from your childhood and you're willing to watch it over again. So
if you're a fan of anime, there's not much anime on the Disney Plus, I would assume, unless there is, and I just don't know about it.
There's probably zero. I don't know if Disney owns.
So if you like anime at all, and you wanted, I guess you'd probably go to Crackle though, wouldn't you? But if you wanted like multiple things all encompassed in one streaming service, Netflix at least has anime on it. Not a lot, but it's got some. Yeah,
that seems to me that could be one of the only like main differences.
Yeah. I mean, this is coming from a guy who was about to. I was like about to totally unsubscribe from Netflix, and then I'm like on a family plan with a few other people that are in it as well.
Yeah.
And they don't want to stop it, so I was like, okay, cool. So my fiance and I might back out, and they can keep it, but we haven't really used Netflix for anything except for watching older shows, like you're saying with Disney. We're just watching Friends or The Office all the time, and that's about it.
I was gonna say I think Netflix for some people has become the kind of like it's like the background streaming service because you'll just have The Office running in the background. I usually have Friends running in the background. Nowadays it's Fresh Prince. I know some other people who do the exact same thing. Friends is just running all day in the background, or Fresh Prince, or The Office. So I guess in a way Netflix hasn't really, at least in my circle of friends, it hasn't remained the same kind of impactful we are the new streaming service who's going to give you like rich new shows that like break boundaries and stuff like that. It's less of that nowadays, so maybe because of that it's lost its touch, and that's kind of why I see people, if they were to make a decision, it would be to opt for just Disney Plus as opposed to both. So
that makes sense.
But
Well, as far as Disney Plus's original content though going on, they've created The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So this show this is only on Disney Plus, right? You can't watch this anywhere else?
I believe so. Yeah, just Disney Plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mandalorian, I don't know. I actually have no idea what anybody else thinks of the show yet. I haven't talked to anybody about the show. But I've seen the first episode now twice. And at the time of this recording, the second episode has come out. But I haven't seen it. I don't know what it's about or anything like that. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about it?
Are we going to second topic right now? Are we going to?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, we're going to go right into separate topics.
Okay,
it's
cool.
going to be a bit of a shorter episode, I bet, today, just because it's a little unorthodox. But
yeah, we'll see. Okay, so yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I've seen it twice. I saw it once on my own, once with my wife, and then
nice.
Haven't seen the second episode yet. It wasn't actually what I thought it was going to be like, but it's probably because the first episode is still the opener. It's like the feeler, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
we have yet to really see its full potential. But based off the first episode, I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest will be like. I'm unsure if the character so far is what I've always imagined him to be based on our little, well, I guess based on episode 6. So otherwise we would have seen more of him in episode 2? Yeah. Right?
Oh, you're talking about Star Wars episode 2?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
So like the Clone Wars?
Yes.
Yeah. Why? Maybe I'm confused. So my Star Wars trivia has gone just down the drain. I'm not so up on it right now. So why would he have shown up in the Clone Wars more?
Actually, you know what? I need to clarify.
Attack of the Clones. Sorry. Attack of the Clones is what I was talking about.
I'm probably gonna sound like an idiot right now, but I need to clarify. But the Mandalorian, I was always under the impression that the Mandalorian is Boba Fett.
Yeah. See, no, I don't think he is. No, this is a different guy.
Oh, cool.
Because
great. Okay, this makes so much more sense.
He's of the Mandalorian race, and Boba Fett, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't? But then again, I don't know. Maybe he is. But no, I think this is a totally different guy.
Okay. Okay, cool. That makes
then
me feel a bit better.
that is a good question, though. It's not weird to ask that. That is a good question, because that is the impression I had watching it first, too, is that it was going to be Boba Fett. But you're right. Like, when I watched it, I was like, oh, clearly it's not. It's some other guy. But I just realized now they never actually answered that, so it could be.
Unless they did. But the thing is, like, I guess I never really paid attention to the timeline of where everything takes place, and that's why I was kind of getting confused. So
yeah, I'm confused on that, too. Is this is after the Empire, the last one? I'm so bad at this right now. I'm sorry. This is after...
Return of the...
Thank you, Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, this takes place between episode 6 and 7.
Okay, that makes sense. Because, like, there's stormtroopers... Sorry, we're going to go into spoilers for this whole thing, by the way. There's stormtroopers in this episode. Briefly. And somebody says, pre-Empire. When he's talking about a ship, he's like, oh, your ship, it's really cool. Is that pre-Empire? So I was like, oh, okay, so this dude has a ship from before the Empire. So where are we in the timeline? So I thought we were during the events of those episodes, but okay.
Mm-hmm. You know what? One day we'll figure this out. It may not be tonight, but
then again, maybe we're not supposed to know. But I didn't think that Boba Fett was a Mandalorian. Now, I don't really know much about Mandalorians, but I did watch the show, The Clone Wars, and there is the race of the Mandalorians in there. And so I thought that was like an interesting race. Kind of reminds me of like the elves from Lord of the Rings or something like that. So I thought that was really cool, and I don't know why I didn't clue in, but I didn't really think about the fact that this show was going to be about a Mandalorian, you know? I was just thinking, oh, Mandalorian, that's the show about the bounty hunter guy. So I was really happy to see that was actually a really interesting part about it, right? It was like, oh, you're a Mandalorian, your race can do this and this and this, and he was like, oh, okay, and then he like did it in the show. He was like able to tame a beast or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's something. You know, because I was not interested in a bounty hunter character at all because it's nothing. I've never liked Boba Fett and I've never liked Jango Fett because to me they're very boring and they have no lines. And there's just nothing to them. There's no meat on the bones. But in this show, we had a character who was vulnerable. We had a character who showed empathy. We had a character who had jokes. We had a character who was... we had a strong character with emotions, and that was great. And actually wearing the helmet made it even better because we're reading him the whole time and trying to project the emotion onto him because he doesn't have a face. So it made it really cool. So I really like that. All in all, though, I don't know. This episode was neither amazing nor was it bad. It was just somewhere in the middle, and I can't really tell. It was enough for me to want to watch it twice, but
Yeah.
It was interesting. It reminds me. I have a question here for you, actually. Which trilogy does this episode remind you of the most?
The
Or the show so far?
Good question. I would. Oh, geez, a whole trilogy. I guess I'd have to say the original trilogy.
Yeah, it's weird, hey? 'Cause it feels like the original trilogy, but it also has like pangs of like the first trilogy, the prequel trilogy.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
well, yeah.
But maybe in the same way, I guess it's kind of also like the new trilogy. You know, I know that's probably what they're going for, but man, it's weird how it seems like a lot of it is filmed from back then, especially like the bar fight scene and stuff. That reminds me of the old days, like the first trilogy that ever happened.
Yeah.
But then there's like weird scenes where it's a big CGI creature, you know, and it seems a lot like the prequels.
Yeah.
But then they've got like when they had the sage, the wise old sage, like teaching him like the ways of like how to ride this creature thing.
Yeah.
That reminded me kind of the newer movies. So it's really strange how it kind of blends all three. It's kind of weird.
You know, I was so the moment I saw him, what's his name? Whatever, like the guy that,
Nick Nolte.
Yes, Nick Nolte's character. I think after he said the words "I have spoken,"
Oh yeah.
and maybe like within a few lines after that too, I was thinking, oh no, is this going to be like, is he going to be the Yoda of the TV series? Like, I really hope. I was hoping that he wouldn't be.
Yeah.
We just saw him for like a few scenes, and it seems like he's past it for now. Maybe he'll come back to it, but I was hoping that he wouldn't be that case, because I guess like I was under the impression that this would really be about like this guy's journey. I don't know how to explain it, but I just didn't want there to be like another Yoda. Like I wanted it to be like something fresh.
I remember somebody explaining this on Red Letter Media. I think it was Rich Evans explaining this on Red Letter Media, and he was saying the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek is in Star Wars, you have to have a Skywalker, and you have to keep it tied into the main story. And in Star Trek, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, oh. And I never thought about it that way, but it's so true. In Star Wars, it's not really about the universe. It's about the main character. Like, Star Wars is all revolving around the one family, and it always has been. And Star Trek is about the universe. So this show, as you were just saying, this show, Mandalorian, was supposed to kind of be, or at least what you were hoping for, what I was hoping for too, was a show that's kind of in the expanded universe of Star Wars, but is finally like away from everything else.
Yeah.
So we don't have to think about everything else. And yeah, you're right. When they do stuff like that with a Yoda-esque character, it feels like, oh, what are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to tie this to that? Are you trying to make this kind of like Star Wars? Because it shouldn't have to be. If you think about the Clone Wars TV show, that one was very similar to episodes of Star Trek. Because it was like, in this episode, we're going to travel to this galaxy and check out what's going on over here, right? Or Futurama kind of esque, right? So that's what would make a good show. And you're right, with Mandalorian kind of copying a few things from the original trilogy style, of storytelling at least. You don't really want to see an homage. You just want it to be its own thing. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, with something like this. Okay, so I was gonna say that the reason why I guess I felt it went in a different direction from what I thought it was going to be was because the trailers to me made it seem like it was going to be like very much more on the eerie side, like more creepy, much more dark, and like my. What's ingrained in my vision is seeing all those stormtrooper helmets like on those spikes.
Oh yeah, and you said that too when we were on the podcast talking about it. Yeah.
So because of that, I had this whole assumption that this is going to be like a very dark, like very gritty kind of character or show, well, characterization as well, which we have not yet seen. Like, he seems like a more reserved kind of bounty hunter, if anything. Like, the opening scene, sure, he, like, killed a couple guys, but other than that, you know, for the rest of it, he almost seems like...
Vulnerable?
Actually, sorry. Well, he did also kill, like, along with IG, whichever model IG bounty droid that was. Like, he killed that whole invading tribe. But it's not like... that, to me, is still kind of like the like the Star Wars, the sequel trilogy, episodes 1 through 3, where you see a bunch of blasters kill people, and it doesn't look. It's not like grotesque. It's not a very like a very vibrant death, if you know what I mean. It just looks like, okay,
Yeah.
this guy's gone, this guy's done, this guy's done.
Yeah.
Okay, next kind
Exactly.
of thing, right? They kind of just brush over it. So
When they were
I'm
cutting
not-
through droids, and then suddenly the droids don't really matter anymore, right? There was really no lives lost or anything at stake.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm just getting overall like a completely different feeling from what I got from the trailer. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
That is probably even more so why I am looking forward to see more, because I just have this kind of yearning to see like, hey, what exactly am I getting into?
Yeah, we don't really know what we have yet, right? Like, we're kind of opening up the Christmas gift, and we can kind of see a corner of it, but we're still not really too sure exactly what the whole thing is. We have an idea of what it could be.
We're shaking it. It sounds like Lego, but it could be Kinects, you know? Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, onto that, I could see this show going really poorly. Like, I can see it going right down if it goes in the wrong direction. And I could also see it doing really well if it goes in the right direction. Like, it hasn't told us enough yet for us to know where it's going with this. Like, for example, you know, for all we know, he's going to get some kind of stupid Jar Jar-esque road cop buddy that he goes on an adventure with.
Yeah.
And that could be, again, that could be awful or it could be great, but depending on what it is. But it'd be so different to what you're expecting in the show, right? Like,
right.
Kind of expecting, like, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly or something, but we're getting maybe... Actually, what did you think about the ending, by the way? The twist.
The twist? I guess I didn't really know what to think, because then again, like, I was still kind of confused about the timeline. I was like,
exactly,
wait,
that threw me off the timeline.
Taking place now?
I know, I was
what
so
does this
confused.
mean?
If anybody doesn't understand, at the very end, there's some kind of bounty that he's trying to capture. He's trying to keep it alive, and he's with a bounty droid, and the bounty droid is going to kill this bounty. And then so he kills the bounty droid and keeps the bounty to himself. And we look at it, and the bounty is this little baby Yoda thing. Just like in like a little crib or something. I'm not sure.
Little floating crib. A force crib.
It's 50 years old, apparently.
Yeah. So,
but it's a baby.
I wonder if that means we're going to be introduced more into like Yoda's race, yeah. Yoda's culture,
guess.
Like Yoda's.
But that's see, and like, did you need that answered? I didn't need that answered. I didn't need to know more about Yoda's race.
Well, I mean, we still don't. Like, we might not find out about it, but I agree with you.
Maybe.
Like, there are some things you want to leave untouched. Like what makes them much more attractive is the mystery behind them, and I think that is part of why people really liked Boba Fett too. There all obviously were like a bunch of side stories in canon, like through video games and comics and stuff, but I think too maybe most people who just kind of followed the movies only, if they did really like Boba Fett or other characters that are even like Yoda, like there's so much we just don't know about those characters, and we might yearn for more about wanting to know about them, but every time we see them on screen it's kind of like, oh, what else did we find out? This is so cool. Or like the mystery is what is attractive about them. So maybe we won't find more about Yoda's actual race. Maybe we will. First episode was just the feeler. Actually, I just thought of something. One thing that I've noticed over the past few, or like just like a trend amongst the Star Wars trilogies, is that they try to basically introduce some sort of new tech or new droid.
Oh yeah.
What was it for? Well, I guess 3PO and R2-D2 were just for the first trilogy. What would be the second trilogy?
The prequel trilogy?
Yeah, prequel trilogy. Maybe they didn't really introduce a new droid, but they did give R2-D2 a lot more screen time in terms of like being able to like use his rockets and light things on fire.
Yep.
And then with the recent trilogy, we've got BB-8, BB-9, things like that.
Who's BB-9?
BB-9 is... Oh, I think it's BB-9. BB-9's the black BB-8.
Oh, okay.
Like the Empire or the First Order.
Yeah, you're
BB.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Now I learned it is.
And anyway, so yeah, for the Mandalorian, I guess the opening droid kind of... Well, the cool droid that we see is the IG, the bounty droid. So what did you think of the bounty droid?
I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was interesting to see at first. I really like how he was dismissive to droids because... actually, two things about that. I like how at first he was like, droids. And it kind of reminded me of Han Solo, which I really enjoyed. I was like, this is like a good kind of callback. But no, it doesn't even necessarily have to pay homage. It just makes me feel like there's more characters in this universe that don't like droids, and I like that because I'm like, we've had too many characters that love droids and know everything about them. So now we have like a character that doesn't like him again. I was like, awesome. But the second part is when he asked the droid, when he's like, oh, that wound looks bad. Are you hurt? And then the droid like explains all the reasons why he's not hurt. Then the guy goes, oh, okay, sounds good or whatever, right? But like, I really liked that dialogue because I was like, that tells us as the audience that he has no idea what makes up droids. Like, he doesn't know at all.
He doesn't
I was like, that's
care.
perfect. Yeah. And I was like, that's really, really awesome. So I really like that dialogue. So that was my small thing on the droids. But other than that, the droid himself was kind of funny.
Voiced by Taika Waititi.
That makes sense. I thought he sounded Aussie. You know what's funny? I thought he sounded Aussie, and I was like, what's with this trend in like Australian accents now being really funny or something, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought that's interesting. I get it now. Okay.
Taika is Disney. At
Okay.
this point.
Well, it was the droid seemed a little forced, but that being said, it was still pretty funny. But there were some moments where I was like, ugh. And when he got shot in the end, I was like, good, because I didn't want him to be like a main character of the show.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't think we wanted to see some sort of like human droid interaction for the whole series, right? We want to see this guy. Well, I don't know. I kind of want to see him just like cutting through a bunch of stormtroopers. I want to see when he gets those helmets and put them on spikes. Like when's this happening, right?
And like the droid is really good for world building, but not necessarily good for character development. So good in the sense that we knew that our character doesn't like droids. That's about all we can get from that, as far as I can understand. So.
Yeah,
then,
I just wanted to mention the droid thing because I really like the scene when the IG just all of a sudden starts like walking forward and is shooting everything in sight.
Oh yeah,
I love how like it is such a very simplistic design in a sense. You know, like the legs can only bend in a certain way, but in order to get around walking around some certain objects, like the whole hip rotates, and that's enough. Like it doesn't have to pivot. Like it can't pivot.
Yeah.
Or I guess it could. But the mechanics of the robot, of the droid, I think is really cool, and it just seems like it's so simple yet really effective. And I like that. Sorry?
For being on a rough desert planet, it doesn't really make much sense for his design, though, does it?
No, but yeah, that's true. Like how did he get to that point? It's one of those things we kind of have to go along with. Okay, yeah. This show just lets it happen.
Didn't the dude have to take one of those freaking dinosaur things to jump up over the cracks and stuff just to even get there?
Yeah, that 2,000-pound land piranha. Those things are really weird.
And also the dude was like, if you want to get to your bounty, you're gonna need one of these kind of thing, right? But then he gets there and there's a droid that's just for some reason there already, like already got there.
Yeah.
But like you say, is not very mobile. I never thought about that, but that makes no sense at all.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Maybe the droid was delivered via some sort of like Force Amazon service.
Maybe a capsule.
Yeah. You know those things that the Mandalorian was riding?
Yeah.
He was riding them over little like gaps in the canyons, but those didn't seem like very big gaps.
I know, I was thinking that too. I was like, he could just run and jump over those, I bet.
Yeah, I think he would have been able to jump over those better than those things could.
He's a bounty hunter. He's probably got a grapple hook, on his wrist or something. He's probably...
Well, he does have a grapple hook. He used it.
Did he? I don't even remember using it.
When one of those things
he
came
pulls
on,
him, and then shoots him. Yeah.
Exactly.
That was really cool. Yeah, fight choreography in this was good. I enjoyed it. Not many times do I watch like what looks like a movie set and a bunch of guys with a good choreography going on that they've like clearly planned out and all that stuff. You only see it a few times today, and like Daredevil's a really good example of that. But in this one, there was just a good solid moment there in that shootout where I'm like, I can visually see this whole building in my head. Like I can see the whole layout. I can see where most of the guys are in my head. I can close my eyes and I can still see it all, because the choreography was laid out to us in a really good way. So I enjoyed the fight choreography in this. I thought whoever designed all that, they knew what they were doing. It was good.
Yeah. Okay, one last thought that I can think of, because I'm still a little bit unsure about this, but the thing that he got from the in-person commission, they ended up melting it down.
Yeah, and it had the Jedi logo on it.
Wasn't that the Empire? Oh, that was a Jedi logo?
Oh, was that the Empire?
No, that was like an Empire logo.
Oh, you're right. Okay,
that's the Empire logo. Because they were saying it was like scavenged from the Empire or something like that.
I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah. It's
so,
the snowflake looking thing.
So that block, that is what they used to melt down to make his shoulder piece?
Did I say that right? His paulding or whatever, pauldron or whatever it was. Yeah, it seems like they melted it down. I think she probably melted it down and mixed it with another metal.
Yeah.
Maybe, because it was a fairly small thing of metal, and then his pauldron. Is that what it is? Pauldron?
I don't know.
That was.
I'm calling it a shoulder
pretty
piece.
big. I'm gonna type in pauldron and see if I'm right. Yep, that's
But
what it
then
is. It's a pauldron.
Pauldron. Okay, well, I've never heard of that word. That's cool.
It's a medieval like thing, piece of armor you put up on there, so it connects to the wrist of the metal, so that you're fully covered.
Right. Yeah. So, wasn't she saying something like this will, like this is a generous offering that will like help the foundlings?
Yeah, and the foundlings, so the younglings again are back.
Yeah, but
the younglings, except for they're orphan younglings, so they're foundlings.
Yeah, exactly. And we get to see a glimpse of him as a kid.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. So I was curious because she said if this is gonna go to the foundlings, but didn't she melt it
whole down
thing?
Yeah.
Does that mean they're going to use it as a pauldron and then melt it back into something that the foundlings can use?
Does it mean by him having a pauldron on his shoulder, he can now do more work to then help them find the foundlings?
Or can he look cooler and inspire the foundlings?
That's a good point. You're right. That part went way over my head. I don't really know what was going on in that scene. I thought it was cool though. I just liked her armor. The design of her armor was really interesting. I was like, that's badass that there's like fur on it. And I like that she was like a blacksmith. So I was like, this is cool, like tools of the trade that they've got kind of going on here. Yeah. And it made me really interested in this whole culture of.
Like
Well, yeah, that's one thing too. Yeah, good point. They're in the guild. They're not all Mandalorians, right? He's just a Mandalorian?
I believe,
because I don't know.
Oh, that's a good question. But okay, you know the because when he walks into the barracks or whatever that is, the
guild.
But he walks like pretty much like up to where the blacksmith is.
Yeah.
Above the doorway is that symbol that is that the symbol of Mandalorians in general? Mandalorian symbol. Yeah, because it's like that weird like ox skull thing. So that made me think that he wasn't walking into the guild. Like they were both part of the guild, but he was strictly
walking to a Mandalorian section.
In like some sort of like Mandalorian.
Well, that's another thing. So the Mandalorian chick from the Clone Wars. Now again, I don't know enough of all this lore to really know, but
Mandalore. Sorry.
Mandalorian woman. Oh, her name is Satine, I think. I don't know how I'm remembering this. She was a Mandalorian. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure.
Blacksmith. The Mandalorian blacksmith.
So that's one thing I was trying to figure out. I was like, I don't know the timeline and all this stuff. So I was like, is this supposed to be the chick from the Mandalorians in the Clone Wars? Because there's this one character named, she's a Duchess, and she's Satine something or other. And she's really popular in the Clone Wars TV show. And I was like, is this supposed to be her? Because for some reason, her outfit in the Mandalorian show, I was like, for some reason that reminded me of some character that I feel like we've seen before. But it's definitely not the chick I'm looking up.
Wait, are you talking about Sabine?
Is it not Satine?
From Rebels?
No, I'm talking about Satine. Satine Kryze. And no, I've never seen Rebels. It's only in the Clone Wars that I've seen her.
Oh, that's Satine. Okay, yeah. Right. She's the one who has a thing with Obi-Wan.
And she's the only person I can think of that was of Mandalorian race. I don't remember much about Mandalorians. I just remembered that she was Mandalorian.
Right.
So, with this guy being a Mandalorian, I don't really know what the race is like. I don't know what their specialties are or what's cool about them or anything like that. So,
well, apparently they were able to ride beasts.
Apparently. And then also something about a gun. Somebody's like, oh, like, you gotta get rid of your gun. And he's just like, my gun is my culture. I'm a Mandalorian or something. He's like, I'm nothing without my gun. Something like that. There's like it's probably in episode 2. There's just like a joke going on about it on Reddit a lot right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, apparently Mandalorians like guns.
So side note, I was just looking up a bit about so I typed the Mandalorian blacksmith, and there's a thumbnail. Did the Mandalorian really feature a Boba Fett cameo? And it looks like it's about it's the Mandalorian as he's walking up to the blacksmith, and behind him there's somebody who looks like it's wearing the exact same Boba Fett outfit.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, if this is Boba Fett for some weird reason, he does not have the same armor at all as the Mandalorian, so it doesn't really make much sense.
Well, the thing is, like, okay, the reason why I thought it could still be Boba Fett is because, like, I don't recall exactly what happens after he falls into the Sarlacc pit. Like, do we see his body get torn apart?
He does the Wilhelm scream. He goes, ah!
Yeah, but I mean, he could maybe like under the sand, he could have still survived. Something could have happened, and then
The man behind the screen.
30 years later, we see him here in The Mandalorian, but I guess likely not.
That's another thing too. When I saw what's his name? Calrissian? Lando. When I saw Lando, I was just like, oh, he's old. Oh, are we after Empire Strikes Back? So that was another moment where I didn't know the timeline. So saw Stormtroopers, and I was like, okay, we're during the original trilogy. Saw Lando, I was like, we're after the original trilogy, unless they're trying to make him young. I couldn't tell what they were doing. And then at the end, we saw young Yoda. So I was just so confused about the timeline. And I was thinking, I was like, do we know this bounty hunter at all, or do we not know what's going on? So yeah.
Well, my assumption based on the Stormtroopers is that because they're all like different like shapes and sizes, they're not the clones anymore. So the clones were used during like episode 2 and 3, and then after that, so during episode 4, 5, 6, like that trilogy, from what I understand, the Stormtroopers weren't clones anymore. They were just like whatever band of people that they were just recruited, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of them were still
maybe they probably
clones.
still had like a bunch
I
of
think they
clones
answered
left
some
over,
of that in
but...
Clone Wars, and some of them are still clones, and some of them are just recruits. And then by the time you get to the what's the Empire called in the new one?
The First Order.
First Order, thank you.
Or
By the time we get to the First Order or the Order or whatever, they are what looks like orphans that they are turning into being part of the. Oh, I wonder if that's going to have anything to do with the Foundlings. Maybe they'll turn into the First Orderlings. It could happen.
The FO-lings, the Folings.
Will we see a baby Finn? Will we?
Ooh.
We may.
A baby Rey?
Baby Rey. That's just fun to say.
A baby Rey and a baby BB-8?
BB-8.
They should just make this whole. They'll just make like a baby Star Wars series.
Star Wars
it's just
babies.
Like it's like it'll be like Rugrats, but Star Wars. You know,
Muppet
there'll be like this this little like bald little green thing in a diaper, and it just happens to like befriend a whole bunch of other little random looking like a furry little creature that just goes. And then they become best friends, and it's just them having adventures in their imagination.
How would Yoda cry as a baby?
How would Yoda cry as a baby?
It's like, wow.
Oh, I get it.
I think, right? I don't know. I'm not trying to make a joke. I'm just trying to figure it out. Maybe we'll find out next time on The Mandalorian. I propose an idea about Mandalorian. I think what we should do is not talk about it again until the show's over and talk about it by the end with our thoughts. Because at this point, we don't really know what to make of it. By the end of it, obviously, we'll have a better judgment of the whole thing. So,
and yet we rambled on and on and on about this
we
one
actually
episode
made a
we know nothing
full-length
about.
podcast. Like, I don't know how, but this was a full-length podcast. So. Hopefully, you got something out of that. I enjoyed it. I learned something about Disney Plus today, and I learned something about Mandalorian today. So
cool. And I learned that on 4 hours of sleep, I can't stop talking sometimes.
I'm gonna let you go to bed. All right.
You too.
Anth0z. Where can the audience find you?
I'm gonna be in bed. That's where you can find me. I am still on Twitter, and one day I will resurface and retweet something. I swear it'll happen. Probably after I get 30 hours of sleep, I will do it. I don't know. It'll happen, but find me there. On Twitter at Anth0z1. That's at ANTH0Z1.
And if you want to find me, you can find me at No, you can't. Mattbrush Gaming.
You can try.
Mattbrush Gaming. Oh, I gotta break these bad habits. You can find me at Mattbrush Gaming on Twitter, and you can also find me at Mattbrush Gaming on YouTube, where you can watch this podcast with your eyeballs, and just listen to the audio and watch the beautiful like visualizations I've made for you guys on there. Or if you want to just listen to the podcast, you can on any of your favorite podcast platforms,
using your earballs.
Using your earballs, such as Spotify, iTunes,
Anchor, Apple, Witcher, Stitcher,
thank
Fisher,
you. You got them all.
Podcast.
That's all of them.
Bean,
that's every single one we got.
Bean.
Just honestly go to your favorite podcast platform. Just type it in. You'll find it. We're there. And then you'll notice that we probably don't have many star ratings at all. So give us a star rating. Why don't you give us a 5? Just do it. Just hit the 5.
And if you give us a heart, give us a heart. If you can give us food, give us food.
Thumbs up, do it.
Whatever you can give us.
Thumbs sideways, that's fine. Thumbs down, don't do it.
Yeah.
If you want to leave us a comment, go ahead. give us let us know how you think about the show. Well, what you think about the show and what you think we should do with the show. And if you want us to do more things or less things. Maybe you want us to ramble on more about places you can find the show.
If you want either one of us to say more or less things. If there are specific words you want either Mattbrush or I to say at a specific given time in the podcast.
If you want to write us an essay or a novel, you can send us an email at scummbarpodcast@gmail.com. And we would love to read it. I'm sure we'll read it on air, so you got that to look forward to.
Yep.
All right, well, so without further ado, everybody, I love you. And Anth0z, what do you have to say?
I can't follow up with that. You topped it. I love you that's all you need to say.
That's all we shoot out, folks.
That's it.
Have a good night.
Good night.